Good friend Sheree Clark, and it's Thursday,
Yay.
which means we get to spend some time with you, and you're always introducing us to some new things and a way to look at health in a little different way and try some new foods. But looking at the little trays here, these look very familiar. Is that what I think it is?
Yeah, you got it. It's everybody's favorite. We've got nut butters today.
Nut butter.
And we're starting with peanut butter because it's it's everybody's. We grew up with it, right?
No question about it.
So here's the thing. There's a lot to know about nut butter. It's not just, there's one thing and that's all you have to have. Let's start with what we're mostly used to. And we're mostly used to the national brands. When I was growing up, it was either Jif or Skippy, and that was kind of like Coke or Pepsi. You had a preference. My household was a Jif household, but in the interest of fairness, we brought some Skippy today. So this would be
Did you like it creamy or chunky?
I liked both. I kind of swang both ways, but chunky was introduced as I got older. It was only creamy when I was a kid,
okay.
which kind of dates me.
Yeah.
So we start with the national brand. You take a look at the Skippy peanut butter, pretty common. But here's the thing, like I'm always preaching to everybody, we've got to read the labels. So when you read the label of the national brand of peanut butter, you've got roasted peanuts, then there's sugar, then it says hydrogenated vegetable oil, in parentheses cottonseed, soybean, and rapeseed oil to prevent separation, and then there's salt. Okay, so in and of itself, that might not seem like a bad thing, but what's important is the quality of the ingredients that are being used. So the different oils, some of them like soybean oil, for example, is primarily genetically modified.
Okay.
So it would be something for us to think about. The other thing is the addition of the sugar and the addition of the salt. For some people you might say, well, why is that important? Why would we even need to do that? So let's think, so then you automatically would think, let's go to the health food store. It's got to be better, right? So we go to the health food store and we would look at any brand of peanut butter, for example. So then we do the same thing. We read our ingredient labels. Organic, so that's good. We're organic, dry roasted peanuts. Organic palm oil, so we've got a different kind of oil and it's organic. But there's also organic sugar and organic salt.
In that jar.
In this jar as well.
So there's still sugar and salt, even in the health food version.
Correct. In certain health food versions. So that's why it's so important, even in the health food store, to read your labels. So then, while we're in the health food store and we're looking for peanut butter, we could find this. You've probably seen this. Or you've probably seen the big machine with the nuts.
The big machine.
And you can grind your own.
Right. We saw that yesterday, as a matter of fact, in the store they were doing it.
Yes. Then you know you've got one ingredient because you put it in there yourself. So that's the cleanest version. It's also the one where you can buy just the amount that you need so you're not keeping it around. So if I had to vote or to direct you when you're going to be eating peanut butter, I would go in that direction.
And as much as I love peanuts, though, if you're used to growing up on Skippy or Jif, there's a distinct flavor difference.
There is a flavor difference, but now you know why. There's sugar and fat and added salt and whatnot. So you can change that up if you want.
Okay.
You can add you could add your own salt. You could add a little bit of sweetener if you chose to. And I'll show you in just a second. I've actually done some things with that. The other thing, as long as we're talking about peanut butter, some people have seen this and asked me about it. There's the peanut powder.
Oh, peanut powder.
Peanut powder, which is a fat-free version of peanut butter. So let's read the ingredient label here. Ingredients: organic peanuts. Okay, we're organic again. Organic coconut sugar. It's still got sugar and it has salt. It doesn't have any added oil, which is because we know that it's a powder, and you can see that it looks like a powder. It looks like chocolate powder, but
powder.
Yeah, exactly. So know that there's many different varieties and different ways that you can try to do things. So if you look in the front row, the smaller bowls, on the far right is the nut butter that comes in the jar that's got the salt and the sugar. I'm going to ask you to try that second. I'm going to ask you to try first.
Put that back down.
Put that down. First, try the other one, the fluffier looking one.
Okay.
Is the one that comes without any added sugar.
So this is the one if you went to a store that would grind them in the machine and put them right into the container, this is what would come out.
Yep, completely just peanut butter. So when you taste that in and of itself, it's quite peanutty.
Right.
And I think it's a nice flavor. When you contrast that with the one with the added salt and sugar, I think there's a difference. But that's to your point, Jackie, we're used to having the salt and the sugar.
This isn't what my peanut butter I'm used to it tasting like.
Right, exactly.
It tastes like you just threw a handful of peanuts in your mouth and you chewed them up.
Exactly, yeah.
Yep.
Wash it down with whatever you like to chase your peanuts with and you're good to go. So, but try the other one and then you'll see the contrast. So again, remember, it's your palate has been trained by like
Right.
me growing up on Jif and you growing up on whatever it is that you grew up on.
Right.
So let's change our palate.
You
Think
really
about,
can taste the salt.
now that you've tried the other one, exactly. And for me, I can also taste the sugar. So there's a pretty significant difference. So let's talk about, I know, let's
And I love that difference.
And
But there's ways of doing it in a healthier way.
There are, and a big part of it is doing it yourself. There are other alternatives. Some people can't have peanuts because
That's
of
true.
whatever reason. So there are other kinds of nut butter. Let's talk a little bit about cashew butter. So cashew butter is made, not surprisingly, out of cashews. As always, we're going to read the label. Remembering also that if you wanted to make your own nut butter, you could by simply doing exactly what they do in the health food store. Take those nuts, whatever nuts you want to do, and put them into either a food processor or a blender by themselves and let them go. Now here's when people tell me, oh, I've tried to make my own nut butter and I haven't been successful. Here's the key, what they're doing wrong. What they're doing wrong is the same thing that everybody does wrong when they're not successful at something in life. They quit
They stop.
too soon, exactly. So if you've stopped and you've tried to make your nut butter and it didn't turn out, you need to leave it on longer. So
Okay.
turn on your machine, let it
Do you
go.
need to add any liquid to it at all, or just leave it the way it is?
I don't add liquid. I just leave it the way it is. Some people will add things because they choose to. It's entirely up to you, but you
Okay.
don't have to.
But you don't have to.
So cashew butter is one option. Almond butter, and I brought this one in particular because it helps me make the point about reading the labels. This particular one will tell you that there is not extra sugar and there's not extra salt. So
Says it
once
right on the
again,
front.
says it on the front. So once again, you need to be looking at that and thinking about what's inside and what it is you want. And then another option would be to try raw walnut butter. That's a wonderful taste. And I brought you along a sample of that. That's that little bowl. In
It's kind of chunky is what it looks like.
It is very much chunkier.
A
Yep.
little bit lighter in color.
And so the texture is different, and because you probably haven't had walnut butter before, this won't be something that you're like,
A
oh,
little drier, too.
But I enjoy it. It's a
tasty.
different taste. If you want to try different kinds of nut butter, there are options in the store which I love. I love that you can do this.
I
them in the pouches.
learned this from you, Sheree, especially when you're traveling and need a little boost, or if I'm heading to another event or a rehearsal. I always have something in my bag if I need a little
Yes.
boost and in a healthy way.
Love this. And then plus you can try, so there's walnut, that you can get, this comes in all different flavors, anything that you want to try. Okay, so we've talked about cashew butter, so I did something for you with the
Ooh.
cashew butter. And what it is on the far right in the big bowl is a savory dish. That is a peanut sauce with not a lick of peanut in it. But
Huh?
you're
But
gonna
then why do you call it peanut sauce when there's no peanuts in
to
it?
trick people.
Okay.
Is it like a peanut, like a Thai sauce?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's very much a Thai sauce, and so the flavor. So expect it to be savory with a hint of sweetness. So there is actually some garlic in there. There's ginger. I've thinned it out a little bit with orange juice to add a hint of sweetness. And there's soy sauce in there as well. So you can take your nut butter and it can become a really focal point of some savory dishes. So
Wow.
it doesn't have to just be part of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something that you put on toast.
Wow, that's really good.
Isn't that delicious? So that's a good source of protein. It's something that you can have for your lunch. It's got fat, it's got fiber, it's got all the things that you're
is really
looking
good.
for. And it's filling.
And you got fun noodles.
The fun noodles on zucchini noodles, right?
Very
Exactly.
good.
So let's
Crunchy.
talk about what we could do with
very
our
good.
nut butter if we wanted to make a dessert. I sliced some fresh apples. We're going to want to eat those before they brown. I just did them. And Jackie, what I did for you was I made you a chocolate sauce.
Ooh.
So in that I used almond butter, and then I added some chocolate powder. A sweetener, in your case I used maple syrup, and
That
a little
looks awesome.
little touch of my, you got your own,
I
you got
know.
something
Can I
good for
just
you.
eat the chocolate sauce? Do I
can eat
have
the
to put
chocolate
it on
sauce.
an apple?
You could go knock yourself out, that whole container is yours.
Nice.
So be crazy. And Lou, I did the same thing for you, but instead of using the chocolate powder, I wanted to use that peanut powder that we've
Sure.
talked about.
Okay.
So now you have a peanut butter version of the exact same thing.
my gosh.
Same recipe, the only swap I made was chocolate powder for peanut powder.
So this has the almond in there too? Okay, so this is almond peanut.
Almond, right, exactly. And it's sweet.
This is amazing.
I thought you
This
might.
tastes like candy.
I need this recipe because this is amazing.
It tastes absolutely like this belongs in a candy bar.
I love it myself. And here's the other thing. I like the two of those sauces combined and put on a banana. So we can, at break, we're going to go
You want to
crazy.
take a little
here.
peanut stuff with your chocolate?
That could be a commercial, couldn't it?
There you go.
It's Reese's in a whole new way.
I want to see if it does taste like that. I'm sure it does, but actually, this is like a step up from Reese's because you have the almond flavor too.
Exactly.
It's so good. That is so good.
And how long did it take you to whip this up?
I did it this morning before I came here. I made all of this morning before I came here. So the sauces and whatnot. I started about 7 this morning and I was done about 10 till 8. So 3 sauces and clean up, and I clean things in between 50 minutes.
And even though we're eating something, I'm telling you folks, very
That is
decadent.
really good.
And sweet, satisfying my sweet tooth. By eating this, we're still saving calories, still eating in a healthier way than we did if we picked up our classic jar of peanut
you're
butter.
eating cleaner. That's the main thing, that you're and it's satisfying, like you've said, and you know exactly what's in it. What's not on these labels is the preservatives. There have to be preservatives in here. These are shelf-stable items.
Right.
They'll last for years.
Ever.
None of this will last for years that I made for
This
you.
will last as long as you get to the bottom of the bowl, because once you start eating it, you're not going to want to stop.
Or
So
until
good.
I leave the set and then.
She takes it with her.
That is so good. If people want more details, Sheree, because I know people are going to want these recipes, how can they get in touch with you? How can they learn more about eating cleaner in their life?
Try visiting my website at fork-road.com, and then of course you can always drop me an email at info@fork-road.com, and this is where these ideas come from.
Wow.
Is from people asking me questions, so believe it. That's why we have a local program here, is so that people can ask questions and get responses.
And get the answers they're looking
Wonderful.
for. Perfect.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Good
Thank you.
stuff. This is really, really good.
good.
We're going to continue eating all this, and then when we come back, folks, we're going to talk to somebody else that would love to eat